Folks, welcome to Everything Pro Wrestling. Everything Pro Wrestling is a show by the fans, for the fans. I'm your host, Conrad Cushman. We are going to do an AEW Dynamite review tonight. I may be joined by someone, I may not. We'll see. Let me know if you guys are interested in pulling in. If you got a lot to say about this show or something, let me know. I could send you the link. With that being said, man, for tonight, we're going to talk about Dynamite. This is the road to AEW Grand Slam. People are going to be able to make their own conclusions about this show. I saw a lot of what was being said on social media, so I'm going to probably have a lot to say about this, even towards the end of it. Lots to get into, lots to talk about. We'll hit that intro and then we'll just get into everything that's going on right now in the world of EPW and in the world of AEW. Let's go.
Everything pro wrestling, they can never be you. Listen to the podcast here for the people. The best show that's here, so listen in. Let the knowledge begin. The opinion and the lesson, yes. Everyday pro wrestling, they can never be you.
What's going on, everybody? If you see me looking off to the side here, just getting some work done and trying to make some moves happen. Let me see here. Just got to get into what's going on here with AEW Dynamite. Thank you, everyone, for joining. If you want to support, easiest way to give us some free support, hit the like button, subscribe. Super chats also help. We have multiple shows going on this channel. We do have on Mondays, Clash of the Podcast, me and Sean Hubbard of Hubbard Wrestling Weekly. We come on every single week and we just talk about anything and everything in the world of pro wrestling, bringing our podcast together live 6:05 every single Monday. Also, 10:10. Usually we have an AEW Dynamite review as well. Doing our thing. Cactus, I see you in the chat, brother. I see a bunch of people in the chat. Do me a favor, guys. Hit that like button. Get us up into those double digits here for the likes. Clown says, evening, everyone. Appreciate you, Clown. Thank you for that. Terrell in the house. He says, EPW, me and my family have two theories concerning Moxley. He's either working for two people, either Shane or The Rock. Now, we can't rule out The Rock. Oh, yes, we can. The Rock is on the board at WWE. Ain't no way they letting him do anything with AEW. He is the final boss. I believe the Shane McMahon thing, and that sounds crazy in 2024 even. Cactus is in the house. What's good, Cac? Appreciate you, brother. Matt Lopez says, hello, everyone. Good evening. Gotta do the good evening. I hope everyone had a good day. Appreciate you, Matt. Appreciate you. Let me see here. My guest is just telling me. I'm just letting them know what to do. There we go. Boom. Jocelyn in the house says, evening, everyone. Today's my birthday, so I missed Dynamite. I'll watch later. Well, first off, happy birthday, Jocelyn. I'll watch later. Ordered my revolutionary idea hubs. Waiting for it to hit my door. Enjoy, everyone. Jocelyn, appreciate you. And my work computer is going crazy over here. Derek is okay. Derek just couldn't join us tonight. He had something he had to deal with, and I'm sure Derek was probably like, yo, I need to catch up on some sleep. So he's all right. John G, King of R&B, what's good? It was just John G's birthday, too. So make sure you guys give him some happy birthday love as well. Terrell says, wait, he's on the board of WWE. That's why Conrad The Rock tricking Tony Khan and takes over AEW. Nah, fam. Nah, fam. Nick Khan will have a conniption if that happened. Most definitely. Yes. Birthday shouts in the chat for John G and Jocelyn. Thank you guys so much for that. Lots and lots to get into for this Dynamite show. So let me see here. All right. Where do we begin, man? You guys know they're building up right now towards Wrestle Dream. that was some of the big topics being talked about. A lot of BI itching on X, Facebook. I saw it everywhere. Jesus De Leon, what's good, man? What's up, Cameron? Hopefully this deal gets announced next week. I think that this deal, Jesus, goes all the way until the anniversary show. That's just my guess, my prediction. I don't know. What do you guys? I don't know when you guys think it is. Jesus is predicting maybe next week. Elite Easy E's in the house. What up, E? What up? What up? I'm putting some links in the chat here for Hubs. My friends over at Pro Wrestling Shoot, putting them in there as well. Appreciate you, man. Thank you guys so much. You know what? We'll even put Easy E's link in here. Deanna said until the pay-per-view, so you think they're going to hold off. Okay. Jesus says, yeah, I could see it too. Most definitely. Most definitely. Let's see. Uh-oh. Let's see here. Just give me the thumbs up when you're ready. And we can add you in. All right. Here we go. Shugo, what's going on?
Hey, man. Nice to be here. Thanks for having me.
Hey, finally got you on the review stream. Shugo, tell them what you do, what you run, man. Let everybody know.
Yeah, man. Well, it's been a while since I've had you on my show, isn't it?
Couple years.
Yeah, I haven't done wrestling podcasts in quite some time. It kind of fell through. But doesn't mean they're gone forever though. But I run Lotus Moon Productions, kind of a spiritual name. People always wonder, where does LMP come from? What a weird name. But I run podcasts for the independent music scene. I interview a lot of independent music artists all around the world. I've met some incredible people, and I try to promote the indie scene as much as I possibly can. But yeah, that's about it.
All right. I think we got everything back on track here. So make sure that you guys subscribe. We'll try to throw some links into the chat, or we'll attach them afterwards in the description of the video for you guys, so you guys could check out Shugo's work. Very good stuff. Shugo, we're just in the beginning of things. I was getting asked questions about the TV deal. I don't know if you want to start there, if you want to get into the show and save that for the end. I'll let you pick.
That's up to you, man. I mean, TV deals sounds interesting. Let's do it.
Let's talk about it. Tony Khan has reported. So some people are saying the ink is dry. Some people say it's at 10%. Some people say it's the 1 yard line if you're a football fan. It sounds like something's going on with Warner Brothers Discovery and AEW. The rumor is from Puck. They were saying that they are going to have about around $170 million per year deal over the next 5 years. So it's some big money. I don't know what they were getting paid before. So it's one of those things, like, you don't know what's real numbers and what's the truth. So what are you supposed to believe here?
Well, I mean, as a new wrestling company, it's always good to hear that wrestling is flourishing. Like, I'm one of those people. I know there's a lot of tribalism around people, and I get it. You know, people want to be fans. They want to be passionate. They want to support their shows. But for me, I just want wrestling to do well. So when I hear a company that started 5 years ago, I think it was 2019.
Yeah, soon to be 5.
Yeah, it'd be 20. Yeah, it'd be in October. They're having that 5th anniversary show, and I think there was something announced for that too. Maybe we'll get to that. Mm-hmm. But 5 years in, and they're already getting this amount of money, and they're being renewed again. And we need more wrestling companies to do this, and for more exposure. And you know, one thing that I really respect out of AEW is the fact that they've given so much talent from so many different promotions exposure. That's the one thing I can respect the most.
Yeah, I mean, that's always been kind of the key part of their deal. Now, Jesus is bringing up something interesting. So the rumor is, so right now, if we're taking everything on the nose that's being reported, like I said, all of this is rumor until we know for sure and we read the final documents. Dynamite is their main show, right?
Yeah.
We have Collision, secondary show. A lot of people are putting Rampage kind of at like this is a third-rate show. It didn't start that way, but they were kind of asked to do another hour, and it was like the third hour of Dynamite. And now we have this new show rumored called Shockwave that's going to a possible another network. And a lot of people are saying that it's been confirmed today, or some people believe Rampage is being canceled, which I don't have an issue with that.
Yeah, when it comes to Rampage, like I think I'm one of the last, or I was one of the last fans to go, yay, let's watch Rampage. But I saw it decline. And what I wanted from Rampage, and I was hoping for this, like after 6 months to a year, and I held on to that last bit of hope, was when it's recorded after Dynamite, I always felt Rampage would have done so much better if they had built feuds from Dynamite. Not just like stuff that gets randomly put together. I mean, like that third hour Rampage is going to be, oh my God, you're going to tune in on a late Friday evening to see these people wrestle because this happened on Dynamite or this happened 2 weeks ago. Something to build up to make people stay. But Rampage was almost, it turned into, and I don't mean to be disrespectful, but it felt like it turned into an hour pre-show. Like it felt like it should have been aired before Dynamite as a build-up instead of the way it does that make sense?
Yeah, because the best way I could describe it is one of the first shows I went to. I remember the main event of Rampage came from Dynamite. It was like Bryan Danielson versus, I believe it was Nick Jackson. Yeah, and the match was made on there, and then it led into it. And then the next time I went, it was like it wasn't like that anymore. It was kind of, no, here's a bunch of matches that once they lost Dark, I think that hurt a lot of things. Now this became the show to get your reps in on TV versus YouTube. So
Dark Plus.
yeah. And that was because of the exclusivity deal with Collision. I don't want to get into the Punk stuff. I'm sure that a lot of us will start fighting in here over that because I'm team pro Punk more so than what happened in that situation. Not say, and to me, there's not anyone who's like, oh, they're 100% in the right. I could pass that blame around like a slice of pie. Here, you could have another slice for what you did. Here's what you did wrong. And everyone could have been better in that situation. But I'm done crying over the spilt milk. It's over. We can't change it. And it's one of the most annoying things that I see constantly brought up on like socials, like, oh, Punk this, Punk, he's gone. He's gone. And even the pro AEW people, he's gone. It's over. Like, let him, he's doing his thing over there. You do your thing over here and focus. And I'm going to get into some of that stuff at the end. I might get a little salty with the language too towards the end. I'm going to because I'm getting upset. Matt Lopez is asking if Rampage, any chance of ROH? I don't know. I don't know about Ring of Honor. I haven't heard anything about it. Everyone seems like they're pretty tight-lipped about it. Maybe Shockwave becomes Ring of Honor. Maybe it turns into AEW Shockwave, but then what do you do with the belts?
Yeah, Ring of Honor, don't get me wrong, like Ring of Honor, nobody can ever take the amount of history and the amount of exposure and the opportunities that Ring of Honor has done over the last 20 plus years. But the way it's gone, I tune into the pay-per-views. It's always a good show if you're just looking for wrestling. It's an excellent show for wrestling. But the story, like, Athena, longest women champion, freaking love it. Love it that she's being treated that way. But I want Ring of Honor to be treated like AEW. I want it to be treated like WWE. I want that show to be showcased like it's something that people can't miss. And it just, I think they've missed the bar on that, unfortunately. I try to give, like I always, like I said, I pay attention to all the pay-per-views, but I can't stick to the weekly shows anymore because as a fan of wrestling, there's just nothing for me to latch on to,
Yeah, no, I completely can understand that. I'm getting back into some of the comments. Matt also said AEW Rampage has basically become where they put random matches with people mostly seen on ROH. Yes, there's a lot of conversion. Some people are asking for a hard brand split. I'm not really particularly for it, but I don't know, because I like it where you can feel like anything can happen on your show. When you do a brand split, I expect you to adhere to the brand split. Like, you cannot cross over. There is no Randy Orton's on Raw for 4 weeks because he's got a match against this guy because you promised it. Like, I don't like that stuff at all. And over the years, they've only gotten worse with what are you allowing to go back and forth. with the brand split. Hubs, my partner on Clash of the Podcast every Monday, says, bless up, brother Conrad. AEW is doing well. Only issue is I'm not loving the idea of Ricochet versus Ospreay on free TV. It's giving Goldberg Hogan vibes. AEW, don't worry about WWE, but good show tonight. Conrad, please explain my Goldberg Hogan reference. We ain't that old, Hubs. We ain't that old. So the idea of putting this match on free TV could be upsetting to some, but here's the thing. And I'm going to start asking this of people, I feel like, because I'm tired of feeling like I have to be a jerk. And this is to even some of the bigger YouTubers out there. What do you want them to do? You say they don't have people in the arena, so now they put on a banger match. You're like, well, no, not now. You need to hold off on that. What should they do? Someone tell me what they should do. Run smaller arenas. Okay, then what happens when they're at max capacity or you can't get your cameras in there? Are people going to complain there's no pyro now because it's in a smaller arena? Like, I don't know what to say anymore to give answers for it. Shugo, like, tell me, like, do you have answers for this? Like, I don't know what to say to people.
My answer is, and I know this sounds cliche, but everyone's a critic. Even us, we're on this live show, we're sharing our opinions, but you can't please everyone, and it's just like in life. You can be the nicest person in the world and someone's gonna have a problem with you. You can be the most asshole type person. Can I swear on this?
Yeah.
you can be a dick, in your life, and someone's gonna say you're not much of like. People are always gonna say, they're always gonna have a criticism about you, and it doesn't matter how nice or how mean you are. So when it comes to AEW and smaller shows and bigger shows and free matches on television, I'm going to be dead one day.
Right.
And, if Ricochet with Ospreay wants to happen on television, do I wish there was a bit of, do I prefer better storylines? Absolutely. It's Ricochet and Will Ospreay, but run it back for people. And I think this is just going to be the beginning, You can yell at me in a few weeks when I'm wrong, but I think this is just the beginning of them because of their history of wrestling in the past. They're going to want to revisit that. We are going to see it on pay-per-view. Like, if anybody thinks they're going to dump it all in the ring in one match on Dynamite on free television, no, they're probably going to give us like half of what they're capable of,
Yeah, they're going to definitely want to get multiple matches out of this. Shout out to Doug joining us in the chat. Appreciate you, Doug. Elite Easy says brand split is Garbo, so he's not feeling it.
The collision brand split, right?
Just any brand split within AEW. So I think maybe Ring of Honor should have one to where it's like, listen, you want to see the Dark Order, they're over there. If you want to see these guys, they're over there. That's fine to me because then that gives them like, listen, the focus is on you over here. And maybe like in the world title scene, you could have some back and forth. But anything else besides that, I'm like, establish who needs to be over there for now and then switch people out. Like, that's okay if you need, like, we need Kingston over here for now. We need Mark Briscoe over here for now. Just flip people out. E and Hubs, you telling them to put the banger behind the paywall. Do we not want to impress network execs? Nah, I feel people saying it. Let me see here. Hubs responded, I'm just saying I want AEW to succeed, period, not just for 1 week. But even when you hold off on doing that match, then there's still the next week. To me, like I said, there's just this downpouring effect onto AEW where they can't escape it. It's going to be very difficult for them to do it. Byron Cutler said AEW tonight was a 10 out of 10. Woo.
High praise.
Hey. Deanna said it's not like Takeshita and Okada. It's a pay-per-view match, but I do want to see them battle for a big payoff match. Which they might that might be the pay-per-view match for people who are trying to go to Wrestle Dream. Because, and here's the other things. Do you know how many times then people are going to say break glass in case of emergency if you hold off on that match? Hubs is right too, though. Like, they did also give away Goldberg and Hogan on free television. I'm sure you remember that as well from the WCW time period.
Oh, yeah, I'm an old guy.
Yeah, but here's the thing. You can't follow it up then by having Goldberg and Kurt Hennig on the pay-per-view. Like, then you're like, well, why did you do that? I would have paid $50 for this, not for this. So you run into some weird stuff.
Yeah, it's also, I mean, it's Will Ospreay and Ricochet, and with all due respect to the wrestling back then, I mean, Goldberg's not a wrestler. I mean, he's a wrestler, he's a character, but when it comes to like my memory, like I've seen Goldberg wrestle a bit, but my memory of Goldberg is just super fast matches, you know, like, and that's not what I want to see in my wrestling. Like, it works for certain characters. Goldberg is one of the few that it absolutely worked with. It made him one of the most dominant people back then. But at the same time, that's not what I want to see at a Ricochet. That's not what I want to see at Will Ospreay. I want them to tear down the house within 15, 20 minutes, go longer. I don't care. It's going to make me happy. So I don't, as an aura, Hulk Hogan, Goldberg, I understand. You know, The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin, again, huge auras going back and forth. But the wrestling will make it different, I feel. And I think people just have to give it a chance and just enjoy it. And it will come to pay-per-view. I don't think, as I mentioned before, I don't think it's all going to come at once.
Yeah, I just think AEW gets a little too much hate, in my opinion, currently. Like, and I know, oh, you're an AEW homer. You can say whatever you want. Then the moment I criticize AEW, I'm a WWE fan. So whatever. Like, I just assume that means I'm doing my job well. So let's get into the Dynamite. We did bring up Athena. Shout out to Athena for getting to 646 days, breaking Samoa Joe's record as the longest Ring of Honor champion in history. They have already built upon that, and that's what has kept Athena special. And I think once Athena drops this title, you'll see her on AEW, and she'll be in a much higher position than she was when she first debuted in the company.
Yeah, I definitely want to see more of her on AEW television. When she was first brought over, she was brought into AEW originally, right?
Yeah.
Remember? Yeah. And I was so excited to see her just go through the women's division, have some really good feuds, and they put her in Ring of Honor, and I'm happy again. They've given her that legacy now, because no one can take that legacy from her now. It is cemented in Ring of Honor in wrestling history. So when people think of Athena, they're going to know longest Ring of Honor women's champion until someone breaks that record. But I don't think they should for years to come, if not ever. That's a debatable and different conversation. But I want to see Athena shine and just fight with some of the best wrestlers in AEW.
Yeah, and I think her opportunity will come. Dynamite, we open up with Chris Jericho, Orange Cassidy. I mean, we don't have to go through every blow by blow, but your thoughts on the match, Hugo?
I don't mean to be that guy, but I found it a little underwhelming. Did you?
Can I say, what's the word? The bar is set here for me, and they got to here, so I'm like, I'm surprised that it was better than I thought it would be, but I also have very low expectations. I feel like anything with Jericho in is dragging AEW down. Like, I just think people are not feeling him. They don't care.
I've noticed that too.
Yeah, and I've told people this, and I want people just to think about this before they say anything about Jericho. Ignore whatever we don't know what's true and what's not true with all the past stuff with him. That could be part of it. But if you're disinterested in him as a character and everything else, Jericho's one great thing that he was always able to do, he can't do anymore. He can't disappear. That was one thing he was always good at. He could disappear, then come back a few months later, and he's a new person. Jericho can't do that anymore, because I want you guys to think back to Kurt Angle in WWE. He went into the Hall of Fame. He was like, man, think of Kurt Angle when he was doing the indie run after he just left TNA. He was crushing it. He was everywhere. He was moonsaulting off cages. Then he got to WWE. They kept him on the show for a year. Then they were like, okay, now we're ready to have you wrestle. His body locked up. Kurt Angle was never moving the same again. Jericho's probably afraid that if he stops wrestling, that's what's going to happen to him. He's going to lock up.
DDP yoga.
I don't think that can save you at certain points. It's over. Like, you can't be in this ring anymore. How long does Jericho want to go? I don't know. But like I said, this was better, but they're rehashing an old storyline. And thoughts on Orange even. Like, go ahead. Just let loose on these two.
Thoughts on Orange and Jericho?
Yeah. The match or their characters, whatever.
Well, see, before I target, what's going on with Jericho right now, like with the FTW championship and Hook and now Orange Cassidy again, I want to point out that Jericho will always be one of the best wrestlers in the world. Like, the character wise, look at him going. What has it been? Almost 30 years now, I think, almost.
Yeah.
Maybe? Yeah. Like, when I was a kid, I was watching Jericho. When I was my teenage, when I was a young adult, like now I'm in my 30s, and like he's always there. Like he's just always around, and he's come up with some of the best gimmicks over those 30 years. So the presence, the aura of Jericho, I'm sure he loved that, the list of Jericho. The aura of Jericho will always be there. But recently, I'm not sure what's going on with the character development. I don't know what's going on. I know a lot of people, I've seen a lot of the comments, they're not getting behind Jericho, and that's fine. You don't have to be, loving a wrestler one day and not like them the next. You can change, it's fine. But there's something missing with Jericho right now, and I don't know what it is. When it came to the FTW Championship, I said for the longest time when they brought that title in to AEW, I said somebody needs to get it other than Hook. And somebody who's going to elevate the title, someone who maybe Hook needs to chase. And Jericho was one of the perfect people to elevate that title, but it didn't elevate it to the heights I wanted it to. Naming it for the World Championship and the Learning Tree thing, it's been hilarious at times. This whole, thanks guys and hi guys, it's stupid funny at times, but there's something seriously missing. It's not just something small.
I think it's just the people caring. I think he has the go away heat, as we call it. People just aren't messing with him. That's what I think. And I've heard people even say the same about Orange. Like they're kind of just like Orange hasn't evolved. He's the same person still. And I'm just like, I don't know. I mean, he got people up for this match tonight. Like he said here, Jericho getting this is awesome chance in the year of our Lord 2024. They must have been pumping good stuff through the HVAC. He could disappear. Please go do Fozzy in Abu Dhabi. Jericho's still a workhorse. Hub says, I respect that guy. I know Hubs usually sticks up for him. Listless would be the word I'd use, and that's not a cutesy wordplay for Jericho. Rob said, Pro Wrestler Shoot. Jesse said, man, let Jericho lock up, LOL. Now that Angle's on the show for a year, that's been a different story. Yeah.
I've seen the comments here, the aura of Jericho take it in, man, and his finishing move from Deanna.
Yep. The aura of Jericho probably could be his next t-shirt, so make sure you get paid. Jericho, man. Make sure you get your payment for that. Orange Cassidy gets the win here. He knocked him out with a roll of coins. They didn't really show the coins break or anything. I'm glad, because I definitely don't like when the ref counts and there's just quarters all in the ring mat. What happened here? Must have fell out my pocket. Like he used the quarters and got the win. Like he basically flipped it around on Jericho. Jericho was gonna use them to cheat. He turnabout is fair play, as Gorilla Monsoon would say. That's what happened here. It was a fine match. They gave him 20 minutes. That's what shocked me. I was like, oh, they gave them some time. But okay.
Yeah, I was a little confused on that one, just because, I mean, again, I criticism is important at times, of course. We all do it. We all have our characters, but it's hard for me at times to criticize Jericho, just as I spoke before, just because he's been around for so long. But there's something missing. But when it comes to Orange Cassidy, when you mention he hasn't really evolved over the years, I've noticed some evolution for sure. But the person who doesn't really try within the wrestling world, are we surprised that he hasn't evolved much? Because he doesn't really try.
Right. And sometimes you're just the character that you are, and that's what you are. But I think Orange has the chops to do something bigger in the company. It's just sure. what do you do? Because if you do anything wrong with that character, you could ruin it forever, and then you've ruined his whole entire character. Now he's got to start from scratch. So
yeah, I thought about, like, when I looked at him one time, like, could he go heel? Maybe he could grow his hair out for a bit. I don't know.
Yeah,
he
wear all black. Switch
you
the
wear all
shirts
black.
all black.
You could become a blood orange. I don't know.
Yeah. Go become a tryhard. You never know, right? Like everything he does, he puts all his effort into.
Or instead of an orange, he could become a grapefruit, be bitter as fuck. Oh.
There you go. The let's get into, so then we get a promo segment backstage. It's Pac and Claudio saying Yuta needs to pull his socks up and come defend the trios titles at Grand Slam. Mock says, I know it's a lot to handle, but I know that I know you have the strength inside to do the right thing. Interesting. And I'm paraphrasing that a little bit. I tried to catch as much of it as I could. It's like they're playing mind games with Yuta. Yuta's been like dejected. They even said he left the title in catering. Like he didn't even care to bring his trios title around with him. Like he was just like, oh, whatever. He's dejected that the BCC's broken up.
Yeah, I mean, the best friends kind of treated him like crap back then too. He's always in an abusive relationship, that Yuta. But when he was reacting to Bryan Danielson there in the ring, and he was like, he was being held back there from Pac, and I was like, wow, you just playing real face here, and what's going to happen with the trios titles after that? And from long term, most all wrestling companies fail at this. They all do. Some storylines just get dropped, some get ended early, some don't go anywhere. All wrestling companies are guilty of that. But when Wheeler Yuta did win the trios championships, it was at All In, right?
Yeah. All In. I figured they might have had a goal there for at least a month or two for them to feud with people, but then they broke them up so fast. Right. So, and the original plan was it was going to be Death Triangle won them. Yeah. And there's those rumors going on. Yeah, they're rumored to go to WWE. That's what I've heard. Mm-hmm. I think they'll do all right there, but I don't know if their wrestling might be a little bit too edgy for what WWE wants. But I think it'll be watered down a little more than what we've seen. If you've watched them in like Lucha Underground, AEW, it's going to be a little more. This is what you do, and that's it. But maybe that's what they want too. Yeah, right? It might be easier on their bodies. There's a balance to this, so right. I'm not mad at them for it. Yeah, so with Pac and Wheeler Yuta and Claudio having the titles, I figured they were going to do something with those titles, but then immediately essentially turning on the BCC or Brian, I guess, in general. And now Wheeler Yuta is super upset. So my understanding, like sometimes people just have to sit there and let a feud cook, let it simmer a bit. And I don't think they're going to strip them of the titles after just getting them like that. I don't think they're going to do that because that makes the titles look bad. That makes the storyline look bad unless they have something incredibly good coming up. So I think Wheeler Yuta is eventually going to probably turn on Brian as well. Ooh, bold prediction coming in early there. Cactus said that was my title, not his in catering. And they are, there's stuff there too with they're still going at it about Jericho. The aura of Jericho, you can't get rid of it, folks. I'm very in the middle about Jericho because I get what Hubs is saying. Hubs is kind of like saying like let's respect his entire history of his career, and there's other people who are like I'm over this, like it's not working anymore, which that is also evident to me that this isn't working. So Deanna says, I like it. Yuta goes dark. Listen, man, we can't have my guy Captain Planet do that. Yuta was my favorite. He would show up on Rampage, and if you missed like throwing a cup into the garbage can, he'd be like, hey, I'm about to fight you tonight. What's your problem, dude? I'm going to beat you up. Why were you littering? Captain Planet to the T. Just fight Yuta for no reason. Yuta is incredible. He's just an amazing wrestler. I really loved when they gave him the pure title. I told people what Ring of Honor should have been was him, Garcia, and a couple other folks. That was your world title scene in Ring of Honor. They should have all just been over there and letting them work. But him and Garcia have incredible chemistry. Yeah, they're great. And I think they're the two people that you could focus on. They remind me of Eddie Guerrero and He Who We Shall Not Speak Of, and what they do. So yeah. Here we go. It's me, Danielson. Oh, son of a. You never know. Yeah, Clown said Penta ain't hitting that Fear Factor anytime soon. No, those days are over. Penta and then we'll be coming up with like the wheelbarrow slam or something. They'll figure out something to do. But going back through this, Alex Abrahantes interviews Wheeler. He says if they want me to show up next week and defend the titles at Grand Slam, I'll be there. He says he doesn't care whose backside he has to kick. And then we see Roderick Strong on commentary for Hook versus JD Inc. Yes. And the match was over. I'm not even kidding. That's probably the amount of time. He put on the red rum. You know what that spells backwards. Oh, yeah. And next week it's going to be Hook versus Roderick Strong for the FTW Championship in Arthur Ashe. Okay, cool. It's a match. Like, there's not much. I think Hook has evolved past this title too. I'm like, I want Hook to do something else. Hand your dad the title and say, thank you for this. It got me a lot of places. I don't need this anymore, and I'm standing on my own. I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm done with the FTW championship.
Yeah. After the Jericho thing, I was like, all right, we gotta put this thing away. Like, it's gotta go right away. Private parties backstage, they make a challenge towards the trios titles. I thought they cut it very good. If you're a New York kid, like, you got everything they were saying in the promo, and I was just like, okay, they're gonna do something here. And I'm like, I assume Commander's their partner. That's who they've been teaming with.
Yeah.
Hopefully we don't get some horrible dancing. And then we get Christian Cage backstage, and he says his son Nick Wayne, they're going to be champions together at the same time because Christian cares about his kids, just not Luchasaurus. So Nick Wayne versus Rocky Romero versus Leo Rush versus Kip Sabian is announced. I think that's for Rampage. I don't know if they said which show. I don't remember. One of the shows it'll be on this weekend. Have fun figuring it out. Christian wants to hold the titles at the same time. He says something in front of Renee about Moxley again. I peeped that. And then Kip Sabian shows up and he's trying to talk to them. And there's this ongoing storyline with Kip Sabian and them. Like, it seems like he wants to be down and they're like, no. So they just tell him to get out of here. And Christian said that if you keep showing up, I'm going to bury you next to your father. And I was just like, yee. And it got pretty serious there for a minute. So, okay. Christian Cage has that number one contendership. I'm interested to see how they work through this.
Yeah, I think I was maybe I'm in the minority. And I mean, Christian, again, he's got that aura too. Like, he'll be one of the greats forever.
Oh, he's top heel in my opinion.
Oh yeah, he's just, and this whole dad gimmick thing has just been hilarious, like just amazing. But when he won the championship opportunity at All In, I really thought it could have gone to so many other people, and I didn't think he needed it. However, he's got that character heel vibe that can make him want it.
Yes, and the 4 ways on Rampage. I thought so. I thought they said Rampage, so thank you. Because a lot of those matches have been on Rampage lately. And then, Collision's been getting the 8-man, 10-man, 20-man tags. So if you hear that, that's what I've been assuming lately.
Just one thing about Collision, too, is I watch it every Saturday when I don't have stuff going on. But I pop it on my Fight TV and I watch it. And I have to say, sometimes Collision will advertise a card, whether it's pre-recorded or live. They'll advertise a card, and the card looks, decent at times, but not much going on. But when you sit down and watch the show, a lot of times I've gone into that show thinking, okay, it looks like an all right night, like midnight. But then it turns out to be really good. Like, they give time to the wrestling, they give time to the matches. They catch up on feuds that need more information, need more stories. And it's a pretty good, solid 2-hour show. I just wish it would tie more into Dynamite, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. To me, it's kind of like, what did we miss? Let's do that. And then anything we need to... They kind of tied a knot this week with the Danielson stuff. Like, they had Nigel kind of explain things again. So there are some kind of crossover things, but we need more of it, I think, when that new TV deal happens. Like, okay, we're writing for these shows. These are the focus, and we need stuff to carry over and bleed into this other show. And like I said, I think the writing has gotten better in upcoming times.
Yeah.
Jumping back into the show, going with the flow here. Tag match, we had Queen Aminata, Yuka Sakazaki versus Mariah May and Serena Deeb. I'm not going to lie, Mariah May's kind of been a little all over the place with her title reign since she won the championship at All In. But they have her kind of just being, she's the top bad girl, walking around with the championship, doing what she's going to do. And I was kind of disgusted by some of the things I saw fans saying this week about Yuka Sakazaki's promo and how could you put this on TV, her voice. And I don't know if people know this, but Yuka has talked about being bullied for her voice in the past. And I just felt and I'm just like, people are doing this exact same thing again. So just do some research before you guys say stuff. I don't know if it was meant to be malicious, and I'm not talking about people even in this chat. I know it's not you guys. It's people on X, people on Facebook that I just saw saying things like, what kind of story is this? This is not good. And I'm just like, what do you guys want? You're presenting someone different, and you're trying to showcase something to build the story off of, and you're focusing on the wrong things instead of what the story is. But that's how people miss. Where's the story when you hear that? So don't get me started. This match ends in a DQ. Yuka's going for the magical girl splash on Serena Deeb. Mariah May comes in with the championship. A very rare, but I'm okay with it because you don't do it too often. DQ on Dynamite.
Yeah. I do appreciate the way AEW handles disqualifications. As for Yuka Sakazaki and her character, her voice and everything, I picture her as this, like when I first saw her when she came into Dynamite, I didn't really know her before Dynamite. And I think of her as this crazy dead or alive character. Like she's super cute and nice, but then she will ruin your day.
And I think that's what it's supposed to be. Like you think she's just some friendly, magical girl, and then it's like, no, she's a badass. Like she's gonna get in there and show you what she could do. She's a tremendous wrestler.
Yeah,
Yuka's been one of my favorites since the beginning. You can go back and check the tape roll if you want. I see people, everybody is going in. Incredible video package with Nigel and McGuinness. I think that comes up here right after this. We'll get into that and we'll talk about that too. See, Curvin comes in. He said Dynamite sucked tonight. I've heard people say it's good. It's a mix in the chat. Mixed reviews.
From 10 to 10 to suck, so we're right all over the place.
Right. So we're going into this. They do shoot Mina Shirakawa, and they're talking about how she is coming and play on words there too. Mariah May's been asking for her, so I feel like by Grand Slam, I think we're going to see Mina return, and I think that's going to be her big match at Wrestle Dream.
That will be great.
I'm guessing that they could team up too. I don't know. There's a lot of ways you could go with this at this point, but I see them having a feud with each other.
When it comes to Toni Storm and Mariah May, first of all, that was one of the best feuds I've seen in quite some time when it comes to the women's. I loved that turn. I love the way Mariah May acted. And Timeless Toni Storm is literally timeless. Like she is just, that character is, I can't believe that was Toni Storm that I, watched and then became that. Like that character was unreal. But when she comes back, she definitely will come back at some point, and it'll probably be against Mariah May. But I want it to be in a few months at least. I mean, I'm thinking even Revolution. Like, I want Mariah May to establish herself as a champion. I want her to run through some people, be this cocky, arrogant, but crazy, awesome character for a few months. And then Toni Storm just come back and get her revenge. That's what I want.
I think Toni Storm, do you keep Toni Storm in the timeless gimmick?
It depends where they go with it. I don't think. I mean, she went away. Yeah, she walked away. They said she left the building and she went to traffic, and not that way traffic. She just kind of left. She was done and she was into the days and all that stuff. But it depends on where they go with it, because I don't want Mariah May to be the one that ended it. However, if she does, that might cement Mariah May even further.
Yeah, and I can see that happening at the Grand Slam show in Australia that's coming up.
Yes, that's a good show.
Because she's been doing a lot of stuff for it, and that's available if anyone is listening who is from Australia. Get your tickets. Look who's right in the middle there. So,
I didn't even see the picture. Wow, look at that.
Yeah,
yes.
Timeless Toni Storm is right there. So, yeah, that's where I can see it happening for sure. Getting back through this, we get technical difficulties. We have to be better at these things. I know we're asking for perfection on these shows as well, but I was just like, not good that they're like, give us a second. We're back. Okay, we got the tape now. And they do a great recap of Nigel McGuinness, Bryan Danielson. I saw some people complaining about it, so I'm kind of like, ta-da, you got what you wanted. Here's the highlights. Because some people are like, I don't know anything about this. And I'm like, all right, well, here you go. And I know sometimes social media, it's not good enough to have people just tell you that. So they showed you tonight. They own the ROH tape library, show some of the matches, give a sneak peek to it. I was good with it. I'm looking forward to McGuinness Danielson that they're teasing. I didn't like how we got there storyline wise, but I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I felt it could have been a little better because Nigel's been going when I started hearing this stuff. I think it was over a year ago. He started calling him a clam digger and stuff on commentary and just all the jokes. I was like, okay, at some point this is gonna have to blow up. It didn't feel like it was gonna blow up the way it did, but I don't think Danielson is going to show up at Grand Slam. I don't think he's going to be able to wrestle. Or maybe he'll show up, but something's going to happen where Nigel McGuinness is going to get more heat by saying, I beat you because you didn't show up. I won by forfeit. So it's going to, make the heel gimmick even more. But a lot of people complain, as we mentioned, about not knowing their past history about a lot of wrestlers. But that's happened so many times. I'm not going to sit here and make a list because we don't have the time to. But how many times, and pick a wrestling promotion where people have gone, I mean, WWE has done it for years. Like when I was a kid, some people would come back from the 80s and 90s and stuff, and in 2000s, 2010s or whatever. And these people would come in and there'd be little to no nothing. They'd be just, oh, here's this wonderful wrestler from this era who did all these amazing things. And now we're going to have a feud. Or redo a feud that happened all those years later. It just doesn't, like when, might be a minority here, The Rock and Hulk Hogan. The auras of those two, incredible. Tore the house down, the screams, the hollers. I remember watching that live. But was the match actually good? I don't think so.
Well, that's one of those things. I forgot who said this many years ago. Someone on one of those DVDs. They said, watch that match on mute. It is absolutely horrible.
Yeah.
But with the crowd interaction, it makes the match. It's a fun match. It's incredible when you go back and watch it. I'm like, that is so true.
The crowd really is the voice of wrestling.
They mute it and you're looking at it, you're like, this is awful. Hogan is moving awful in this match. But really good. I love the backstory for those who didn't know about Nigel. And Deanna brings up a good question, a point too. What if Nigel's part of the BCC blow up? Like this could all be a trap.
I didn't think of that. That's a good shout. Good shout.
Because we don't know what Moxley is doing, and we're going to get into that momentarily. But like, we don't know what Moxley's plan is. How did Moxley just get to come out and lie about something? I mean, obviously, it's like, oh, a heel lies, but just interesting. Terrell says, I hope Christian Cage cashes in New York. How dare they take away Darby versus Danielson? How dare they? Listen, cards subject to change. AEW doesn't do this often, too. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like they're being, like, pelted for, like, why did you do this to us? And I'm like, this is the first time I think I can ever really remember them switching the card around like this.
Did something actually happen backstage, or
nobody knows.
Going on? It was strange. It was strange to advertise that and then take it away.
Yeah, very odd. Because then what did you do? Like I said, it seems like poor planning, and then they're like, pivot. Yeah. We're changing this because of the new character. Well, next up, we get John Moxley coming out. He comes out with his crew. I like that Private Party tried to jump him. Private Party needed some oomph in this. Unfortunately, they were outnumbered. They should have counted before they came out to do this, and they got mollywopped, as we like to say. Commander tried to show up and help. He got beat up. Everything started. Even Marina Shafir took out Alex Abrahantes. I cheered for her after she did that, and just because Alex is always jumping around, I'm like, get this guy out of here. Moxley says that you're in the same position you were 5 years ago to Private Party, and they basically take Isaiah Cassidy up to the side of the stage and put his hand out on the side of the stage, and Moxley has a hammer in his hand while he's talking this whole time.
Yeah, and
he just kind of lambasted that hand, and Private Party, I'm sure we're going to see him in a cast for a little bit now. Yeah, it was great, man. And then Darby comes out, attacks with the skateboard, and him and Moxley kind of go face to face. I wish that he would have showed a little more like anger about, you played me last week on the mic. Why'd you do that? Now my title shot's on the line. Now I have to destroy you. Something like that. They could have got into.
Do you think Moxley will take it from Darby?
Yeah, I think that's the money match. I think Darby's redemption is more important at this point than what they're going to do.
Yeah, and now the question is, might be too far ahead because you don't have, we got to see how things play out. But do you think Mox would take it from Danielson, or do you think Danielson's going to retire with somebody else?
I don't see that. These are the things I don't know. It feels so weird because shout out to E saying they put up a 12-hour video recap of Danielson and McGuinness. Darby, he thinks he's getting the title match. It could go either way. I don't really, like I said, the Moxley thing is a very unknown kind of thing. Like, I don't know what they're going to do here. People have been criticizing it, but they've been talking about it nonstop since he made his return back and he did the, we'll call it the plastic bag angle without getting too deep into it. But yeah, ever since he's done that, people are kind of paying attention to what's going on with them.
Yeah, there was rumors there. I saw. I mean, when Mox first came out and said, this company doesn't belong to you anymore or something like that, people immediately thought Shane McMahon because the rumors around Shane McMahon. And I'm just going to briefly mention Shane McMahon here. So truthfully, I don't really want him in AEW. However, and there's a big however there, if Shane McMahon enters AEW, the ratings will go up. People will definitely tune in because it's a McMahon in AEW. Plain and simple. People are going to be curious. But what does he do? Like, I don't want an invasion angle. I don't want somebody to own the company. I don't want any McMahon to own a company or change or even part of a storyline. It just seems weird. And then...
Well, why would he be there?
Yeah, why would Moxley even team up with McMahon? I mean, sure, we have to wait for those reasons, but it doesn't just... I don't know. Something's weird here. Just maybe in a couple of months' time we'll look back at this and go, "Oh my God, they had us guessing. Wow, what a good time!" So,
yeah. And my partner Sean Hubbard on Clash of the Podcast every Monday at 6:05 Eastern Standard Time. He thinks that it's a bad idea to bring Shane in, and I kind of lean towards his theory. I do play it up a little bit, though. I present different sides to him with it, like how you just said, like it's going to increase ratings and do some stuff, but. Do you really need Shane there? And can you trust Shane? How do you know this guy's not taking it back? What do you think he's doing at Thanksgiving? So Paul, how's work going? You don't say, you know what I mean? Or like he said,
fantastic.
Yeah. Or all of a sudden it's like, hey, Shane, I'm sorry, everything with me and your sister and how we kind of took the company and things happened the way they did, but give me a hug, dude. I got your kid that new football helmet he wanted. Thanks, bro. And then they're best of friends again, and then it's like, you know what, I don't want to hurt the legacy my family built up in this company. Let's take them down. You don't know what could happen. You don't know. So
I love that. That's perfect.
Yeah, crazy, but I like to see Brian going out to Garcia. Interesting. Matt Lopez, I'm jumping around here, says, I think whatever Mox's plan is, I feel it gets revealed at World's End, like how the Devil storyline was last year.
Hopefully the Devil storyline evolves into something. Well, the Devil storyline failed kind of without Adam Cole's injury thing wasn't really his fault there, but
they also used it as a reveal, though, and it was like you didn't have a timetable on this, and I just feel like it went womp womp, and they blew it. But we get a promo with Jack Perry. Yeah, you know how I feel. The Jack Perry, he scapegoat. I don't know where they're going with him. I don't know. They gave him his big matchup, and I thought he did well, but we'll see. I didn't get any indication for anything really.
He needs a good rival.
He needs his Swerve, like Hangman and Swerve. He needs that guy that's gonna elevate them and make his championship reign mean something. But I don't know if there's anyone. I don't know. I just feel like he's going through the motions. He's kind of just, I'm part of the elite, so that's why I'm here.
Mention Swerve, I have to. Whose house?
Swerve's house.
Love Swerve.
Me too. I can't wait till he's back.
Me too.
Next up, we had Ricochet and the Beast Mortos. This match is lucha things. Power bombs on the apron, code reds, more power bombs being attempted, flips, all the good stuff here. Ricochet wins with the curtain call move he's been using. It's kind of like it's like, I don't know, Reverend Devon Saving Grace curtain call, but in between the legs, pins him. And I think Ricochet's been holding back. I feel Ricochet's been holding back. Once again, people are like, what do you mean? He's doing several different moves, and I think he'll save it. Ospreay match will probably be a little different, but you'll see. Just watch.
I've been really surprised with Mortos too. Like, I wasn't.
He's great.
I wasn't familiar with him until AEW introduced him, and this big guy, big mass thing. I think, what was it? Tony Schiavone said on commentary a few months ago, like, how does he wrestle on that thing? And I wondered the same thing but he's a great wrestler.
Yeah, absolutely. I recommend going back and checking out his Black Taurus stuff and Impact and his work at AAA. He's amazing. And he's got a cool mask. You know what I mean? I'm sure it probably scares kids, but it's like, ooh, okay.
I think he reminds me of one of those, and I mean with the greatest compliments. This is not like a rib or anything. This isn't a diss. Like when you hear wrestling and you watch wrestling on a TV show and they make a mockery, but of a TV show, and they have like, you know, this guy and then this beast and then this other character, but he's the beast in a really good way. Like he's someone you go to a wrestling show, like, you know, your local wrestling show, you see their characters and you look at him and you're like, wow, who's that guy? Like he's really, I think kids would love him, to be honest.
Yeah, he's got the moves. He can get down. Now the only thing might be, I don't know if he can cut promos and stuff. And he's also a beast. He doesn't really need to. That's the beauty of it. So as long as he's fine playing the character he is, I think he's golden. And he's been delivering. He's been on TV every week. That's just stuff to notice on Dynamite. It's not like he's on Collision, and he's on that show too. He's on Rampage. He's everywhere. So I think they respect his work that he's been doing.
For sure.
Ricochet gets the win. Hangman Page does a video promo here. We get that, and he's going to be out here momentarily, so we'll get to all this. We get highlights of FTR GYV. The Outrunners show up. People are feeling them. They're feeling them a lot. And we get a big 10-man tag announced. Hook, FTR, and the Outrunners versus the Beast Mortos, GYV, Roosh, and Roderick Strong.
Yeah. The Outrunners, I absolutely love the popularity that they've gotten in such a short amount of time. They are just incredible. I think their gimmick is so, and again, it's cheesy but perfect. They do it perfectly. And sometimes in wrestling, you know, like I don't know, you guys are familiar with Simon Miller, you know, What Culture Wrestling, Goofy Wrestling for Life, and the Outrunners do that stuff, but in the greatest of ways.
Yeah, I think that you have to consider putting the tag titles on them at this point. The tag division needs a reboot. The tag division isn't bad. I don't know. It's like the focus on the tag division is bad. Like it's not. You get what I'm saying? At one point, I was like, we got Private Party. We've got the Young Bucks. We've got FTR. You got this. You got that. You had pay-per-view matches for days lined up. And meanwhile, I don't think any of the companies are really doing great tag team wrestling. I would argue to say that maybe TNA has the best tag division right now. Like
right now, TNA's on fire.
TNA, I may even say NXT might be better. We got to get some focus in on those tag titles, and it might be time to figure out maybe how to take them off the Bucks too at this point. I just feel like the Bucks, FTR, and Acclaimed are kind of in this like cold. They're all cold. Like, okay, we've seen it.
It might be a hot take, but I would have the Outrunners take them off the Bucks, take the titles. Because if they, you can imagine a crowd, like, you know, you think a sold out crowd or maybe an 8,000, 10,000 arena or even 5,000, doesn't matter. That crowd would go ballistic if in a great way. They would cheer, they would go nuts. Like if the Outrunners, you know, they rolled the Nick Jackson or Matt Jackson up with, or sorry, Nicholas and Matthew. Don't want to get a fine now. No, I'm just kidding. If they did a surprise win and then like they would go like this, oh my god, like they would look up after and they would be like, oh my god, that actually happened, and ding ding ding, and it would be phenomenal if the Outrunners did that.
And I think Kenny Omega would be like a perfect person to come back and say, got you. I got something for all of you.
Better. That's even better. I love it.
Or I've heard people suggest maybe the Golden Lovers are the ones to take the tag titles off of them, and maybe the Outrunners win. I don't know. Maybe even if it's a short run with the Outrunners on top, even.
Yeah.
I say go for it.
They're just so over right now, and sometimes you have to strike when the iron's hot.
Yeah, go with the hot hand, man. Bucks warming up the titles for the Golden Lovers. See, people know. Outrunners tag title run, I'm down for it. Outrunners win out of nowhere. Book it. So going back to this, Tony Schiavone's in the ring. Out comes Hangman Adam Page. Listen, y'all know how I feel about the CM Punk thing. I told you, like, segments of this are going to pop up. This has probably been the best work that Hangman's done since 2022, in my opinion, since he lost the championship.
Yeah,
and he's doing really good here. He looks like he's going to beat up Tony Schiavone, and I was like, you better not. And then here comes Jeff Jarrett. You hear the My world, the song that haunted me when I watched TNA for years. Jeff Jarrett is out here, and Jeff Jarrett promises to, if it's the last thing he does in his career, he's going to beat up Hangman Page. A little clunky with them brawling around the ring, but I like it. I think they need to have themselves like a bunkhouse brawl. They got to have some kind of street fight, I think, or falls count anywhere. And I think these guys will deliver. I can't believe they're not doing it in New York City.
Yeah, I mean, it would be a perfect place for it.
Yeah. Even if it's on Collision, make that the main event of Collision. Like, nah, we're going to have a street fight. Jeff Jarrett and Hangman Page, falls count anywhere. Stadium Stampede, brawl on the tennis court. Come up with some corny name. I know Tony loves saying that stuff.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. And all I know is that Jeff Jarrett better hit him with the old El Kabong, guitar right over the head one good time. I need to see it. Jeff Jarrett and Hangman Page. That should be good.
The Outlaw versus the Cowboy.
Yeah. I feel like this is just Swerve's coming back, isn't he, for him?
I see.
Or do you step away from it for a little bit?
Given what happened with the whole storyline in Swerve, I would keep him off for at least a month, but just to sell the feud a little bit. But I love when you said, best work since 2022 with Adam Page, I couldn't agree more either, because the fact that the storyline around that for over I think it was a year, just maybe under a year, over a year, with those two going back and forth, and the character development has been just chef's kiss, honestly, because the fact Adam Page was this beloved babyface for so long, then he started to go a little, Swerve started getting to him and all this stuff, but now the things that he had to do has changed his character within wrestling, and I love when people commit to that.
Right. Swerve and Hangman needs a good 6 months away from each other. Could be. I wouldn't be upset either if they were like, you know what, I'm going to just let this go for now until they want to. You know what I mean? Jericho had the Outrunners on his his podcast. We'll just say can't help but attach himself to anything remotely hot. Or have Swerve and Hangman meet in the C2. Could be. The Continental Classic is going to be coming up again soon, I would assume.
Who takes it from Okada, though?
I want them to merge that championship. I really do. I think whoever wins this year, they get the belt and they get a title shot at Revolution. That's what I would do personally.
It feels a little the Continental Championship. I like the rules around it are nobody can interfere, right?
Correct. It's just straight up a match. Yeah,
which I do prefer. I do like that stipulation, but they've got to do something with it. And there's only been two people. The title only came in last year with Eddie Kingston winning it.
Yeah, Kingston and Okada are the only two.
And I mean, if the Golden Lovers didn't come back, what if Kenny took it from Okada?
That could be a thing. I don't know if Kenny's trying to do a tournament like that either. That's got to be for the young guys. I feel those tournaments. Yeah. Kenny's someone we got to put him in a plastic bubble and save him for some good matches, because I don't want him going out anymore.
Me neither. He's one of my favorite guys.
Yeah, so you got to get people in there and just say hey, this is what we're doing. This is what we got going on. It'll be interesting. Jumping back into this, Renee is backstage with Ricochet, interrupted by Will Ospreay. They make that announcement. It's happening October 2nd, Pittsburgh. They're getting the match. It's going to be Ricochet, Will Ospreay. I saw Jesse getting mad. I know he's going to Wrestle Dream. He's like, how am I not getting this match? And it's just that you got to put some stuff on, man. People talk about you want to keep taking those pictures and making fun of how many people are in the crowd. They're trying to sell some tickets. I don't know what else to say. This is what they've decided to do. I don't know what this is leading to. I don't know what's going to happen. We still got the Don Callis stuff in the background, which we're going to talk about in the main event here coming up next. But I'm excited for the match. That's all I could say.
Yeah, me too. Will Ospreay is another one of my favorites. When I first was introduced to him it was 2017, 2018. That's when I started dipping my toe into New Japan. Mm-hmm. It was just before Painmaker, Jericho went in there. It was just before that. That's when I started dipping into the G1 and stuff. And I started watching Will Ospreay, and I was like, who is this guy? He's amazing. And now he's one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. I hope that in 10, 15, 20 years, I'm still shouting his praises, that he's still active, because he's just unbelievable at what he does. And the fact that he puts on those incredible TV matches, and then he puts on even crazier pay-per-view matches. It's just insane.
Yeah. So it's happening. I'm excited. Like I said, if you're looking forward to it, stick around. We'll have a review up for that once it's time, I'm sure. And I guess we're at the main event now. We can get into it. Plastic bubble like Britt O'Brien. You sound like Nigel now, E. You sounded like Nigel.
I read that in the comments. I was waiting for you to say something.
Bucks and Okada, the Elite, versus Will Ospreay, Konosuke Takeshita, and Kyle Fletcher. There was some tension between Konosuke Takeshita and Will Ospreay, but Takeshita has also shown tension with Okada. Like I said, I don't know which way Takeshita's going in these feuds either. I'm like, is he challenging Will or is he challenging Okada next? But just things to peep. Kyle Fletcher's very happy with Will Ospreay. They are former stablemates in United Empire. If you saw that come up on the screen, I thought that was interesting as well. This match has a lot of chaos. I didn't take notes on this. All I have is that Kyle Fletcher gets the win for his team. There's a lot of super kicks, and there you go. Put that one in your pipe and smoke it for anyone who's like, Kyle Fletcher never does anything big on the shows. There you go. He did it tonight. So
he's a great wrestler, that Kyle Fletcher. I think he's got a huge future.
Mm-hmm. He's got a big upside to him. Once it's time and it's ready, he's going to be a big player, I think, for them.
He'll be in that mix of Yuta and Garcia.
Mm-hmm. That's the next crop of guys I think that are going to be like, oh, these are the future. And I think MJF's still going to be in that mix.
Yeah,
you're going to have a lot of young guys still floating around in there. Depends on how quickly it happens and how long people decide to stick around too, though.
Takeshita, Takeshita is his wrestling ability reminds me of Kenny Omega. He's like when they went at it, or when you see him in a separate match, like outside of Kenny, he's got a great repertoire when it comes to wrestling. Like he can go, like especially if you watch his G1 matches. Yeah,
1000%. It was a fantastic show. I usually tell everyone to put their ratings down. I feel like everyone's kind of told us what they thought tonight. What'd you think of tonight's show? Pass, fail, thumbs up, thumbs down?
Definitely thumbs up. Definitely thumbs up.
Okay.
I'd probably give it an A- if we're being technical.
Okay. I always just ask people what they thought. Usually pass, fail is what I go for on the main shows. Deanna said thumbs up show. I thought it was all right. I saw people complaining about the first hour. Some people were like, nah, the whole show was bad. Some people thought the second half was great. It was a mixed bag show tonight. So you're going to get a bunch of differing opinions. But like I said, my little miniature rant, stop complaining about things. And then when they try to fix them, you complain again. Like, I don't get this. This is just a nonstop bitch fest. Like, you can't have it both ways. You can't say, I want better matches on TV. Okay, here's this match. Well, not now. That should be a pay-per-view match. What do you want? What do you want? Tell me. Right. And the other thing is, too, this is the question I want to start seeing more people ask of any big podcasters, anyone else, because I'm going to tell you, I don't have the answer. So this is why I don't complain as much. What does AEW need to do to fix things? If it's just hiring a great storyline writer and that's going to end it all, please tell me. Tell me if that's going to fix all the problems. I think it's PR. I think it was Punk leaving. I think it's perception. I think it's Cody leaving. I think there's a lot of things right now that are hurting AEW, but they're also on the verge of getting a big television deal that I think should sway more public's opinion about them. But WWE's PR work is nasty work, man. That's the best thing I can say, keeping it 1,000 about it.
Yeah, when I definitely think the writing of AEW was probably better a couple of years ago. Things seem to be more consistent. But then when I say that, Swerve and Paige come to mind. And that's one of the best feuds I've ever seen in wrestling. So that was in just the past year.
I think the writing's gotten better for weekly television.
It's definitely like there's certain things that's where I think about. But as I don't know, as a company, I think they have to be. When you watch them fight TV, I don't know how many people do, or Triller, or whatever people are calling it.
Triller TV now, yeah.
Yeah, Triller. There's been a consistent issue with every single episode of Dynamite since the beginning. Something's always off, whether it's the commercial break that shows the logo, something's on mute. You hear people backstage. There's the little technicalities here and there. We saw technicality tonight with the Nigel thing, but there's always something going on. So I don't know if stuff needs to be polished backstage. Like it's not, I don't know how to run a company. I don't, but I don't know what's going on there. Like they just need to be more professional when it comes to their work backstage. Like they have the wrestling down in spades. The wrestling, that's one of the best things I love about AEW is, unless you're watching something like New Japan or AAA or even Ring of Honor, the wrestling that you get in you're not going to find that in WWE. You're not going to find that in NXT. Sure, don't get me wrong. You get crazy matches in NXT. Some of those kids over there are absolutely tearing down the house, and TNA too. But it is more edgy in AEW. But when it comes to consistency about professionalism and just, I don't know, maybe just gotta polish it up. Like it's like, but maybe that's what makes it character though. See, I go back and forth. I don't know what to say.
Right. And I hear people oftentimes say Tony should be more like insert whatever wrestling promoter was at top at one point. Do you really want him to be like that? He doesn't have to yell. Like people aren't like, oh, you can change, become a dominant person now. That may not be his style. He may be like, I support you in your role. What do you need from me to get your job done better?
Yeah.
Oh, that's not fair. Mistakes are going to happen with these things. And we don't know who's running what. When there's sound and audio issues, that's Turner. That's, it's WBD. That's on their side. They control all of that. People don't know that though. They're like, Tony, what are you doing? And it's like, it's not Tony. That he can't control that. There's no one that he could call someone. That's about it. Like, hey, do you guys know that there's like basketball audio playing in the background of my show right now? Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know if you remember when that happened, but I remember that clearly on at least stateside. There was a basketball game and you could hear the audio and it was like, oh, the guy hooked up probably the wrong thing. He was hooked up to the wrong server. And it was like,
oh, wow. I don't think it came on Triller. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think you would get it if you have Triller, but it happened to us like watching in the States. Like a game was on and you could hear the game in the background and we were like, dude, this is awful. You would hear like defense. And you're like, I'm trying to watch Moxley right now. What are you doing? But I give AEW a chance, people. That's the best thing I can say. I say that every week when I come up here. Shugo, I appreciate you coming on and doing the show with me. We got Grand Slam next week if people want to get hyped for it. Moxley Darby. Darby's title shot's on the line. Nobody knows what's going to happen. Will Britt O'Brien show up to face Nigel McGuinness? We don't know if he's cleared to wrestle. We got the Bucks taking on Kyle Fletcher and Will Ospreay. We also have Hook, Roderick Strong, and I'm sure there's going to be a few more matches announced. Maybe we'll even get some more of the Outrunners, man. Maybe they'll get to show up. Looking forward to it. Thank you for filling in, man. That's the best thing I can say. Check out Shugo.
You ever need me, just message.
I appreciate it. Thank you for filling in. I didn't want to bother Hubs tonight. I didn't want to bother any of my usuals. And I wanted to get someone different on. I was like, let's get someone who hasn't been on or someone who's like, yeah, I want to be on. Sure, let's talk some AEW. So I appreciate it. Lotus Moon Pod, is that still your handle on X?
Lotus Moon Prod. Yeah.
Make sure that you guys give that a follow. Check it out. He's also in our Discord. I will put that in the chat right now. You guys can join that Discord. We got a lot of fun going on in there. Trying to get some more people. Need some more people posting, talking about some things. I usually just put Twitter links to news stories, things like that. We go in there and we talk some wrestling, man. And also a good way to keep up with the show. With that being said, we'll be back next week. Another episode of AEW Dynamite. For myself and Shugo, we are out for this episode of AEW here on Everything Pro Wrestling. Thank you guys so much for rocking with us, and we will catch you guys all on the next one.